Today we will calculate the packing efficiency in hexagonal close packed structure. We know that packing efficiency is defined as the percentage of total space occupied by the particles, and it can be calculated as volume occupied by the spheres in the unit cell divided by total volume of the unit cell multiplied by 100. So let us calculate packing efficiency in a hexagonal close packed structure. This is a unit cell of hexagonal crystal system. Here we know that in hexagonal crystal system edge length A is equal to edge length B, but it is not equal to edge length C, and angle alpha is equal to angle beta, and that is equal to 90 degree, whereas angle gamma, this angle is equal to 120 degree. In this unit cell, all the corners are occupied by the unit spheres in the unit cell, as well as two extra atoms are placed at the two opposite faces of this unit cell. Now, such type of unit cell arises as a result of AB type of close packing. Let us have the view. Here, this unit cell arises as a result of AB type of close packing. Here, this is A layer, this yellow ball represents the B layer, and this third layer is again A. This type of packing is known as AB type of packing. Now, the unit cell form in this type of unit cell, atoms are placed at the corners of the unit cell. There are 6 atoms placed at the corners of the unit cell at the base, and one sphere or atom is placed at the face centered position. Now, on the top, that is the third layer, first layer and third layer, these two layers are identical to each other, whereas the second layer, which is represented by yellow ball, the center of these 3 balls do not coincide with the centers of the red spheres or ball. So this second layer is different from the first layer, and third layer is just identical to the first layer. And such type of unit cell arises as a result of AB type of packing. Volume of unit cell can be calculated as area of the base multiplied by height of the unit cell. Here the base is represented in the form of hexagon. We can see from this figure also. If we join the center of all these 6 spheres surrounding the central sphere, a hexagon will be obtained. We can see from this figure as well as from this figure. This is, if we join the spheres present in the layer, centers of the sphere present in this layer, a hexagon will be obtained. So this is, the base is a hexagon. This base is made up of 6 equilateral triangles. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So if we have to find out the area of the base, we have to calculate first the area of this equilateral triangle. This is an equilateral triangle. All the 3 sides of this triangle are equal to each other, and all these 3 angles are also equal to each other. We can see from this figure. This is an equilateral. When these 3 balls are joined together, the centers of these 3 balls are joined together, an equilateral triangle will be obtained. So this hexagon is made up of 6 equilateral triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And the distance between the centers of the 2 spheres is equal to twice of r. Here the spheres which are present along the edge length touch each other, and this edge length A will be equal to twice of R. In case of this equilateral triangle, all these sides are equal to A. Here two spheres are also in contact with each other. These two spheres are also in contact with each other. And these two spheres also touch each other. All these three spheres touch each other. So the edge length will be equal to the side of this equilateral triangle A. And this will be equal to twice of R. Now let us calculate the area of hexagon, that is the area of the base. If we have to find out the volume of the unit cell, first we have to calculate the area of the base, that is hexagon, and then we have to multiply it with the help of height. And this height is nothing but edge length C. And this height H, which is represented as H, it is actually the twice of distance between the two consecutive layers A and B. It is twice of distance between the two layers. This layer represents the second layer, this one is third layer, and this one is a first layer. So the distance between the two layers A and B is represented as H by 2. Here it is also H by 2. And this total distance between the first layer and third layer is represented as height. So height is nothing but the twice of the distance between the two layers A and B. Now let us calculate the area of hexagon first. This area of an equilateral triangle is calculated as 1 by 2 multiplied by base, that is A, multiplied by its altitude or height. This is height. Now, in this equilateral triangle, all these sides are equal to A. If we draw a perpendicular from vertex A on its opposite side BC, the triangle ADC will be formed. Now, this perpendicular AD, that is represented as H, will be equal to A multiplied by sine theta. This is sine theta. We know that because we know that sine theta is equal to perpendicular divided by hypotenuse. So the perpendicular will be equal to hypotenuse multiplied by sine theta. Here perpendicular is represented as H. H will be equal to hypotenuse, where here the hypotenuse is equal to AC, and that is equal to A, and this angle is 60 degree. So this perpendicular or the height is equal to A multiplied by sine theta, and the value of sine theta is nothing but under root 3 by 2. So H will be equal to A into under root 3 by 2, and that is equal to root 3 by 2A. So the area of the triangle will be equal to 1 by 2, that is half, multiplied by base, that is equal to A, and multiplied by height, and that is equal to root 3 by 2A. Half multiplied by A multiplied by root 3 by 2A. 2 multiplied by 2 will be equal to 4. So the area of equilateral triangle will be equal to root 3 by 4A square. And this hexagon is made up of 6 such equilateral triangles. So the total area of the hexagon will be equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4A square, where root 3 by 4A square is nothing but the area of a single equilateral triangle. So the total area of the hexagon will be equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4A square, and this is the area of the base. The area of the base will be equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4A square. So we have calculated the area of the base. Now let us find the height of a unit cell. We have calculated the area of hexagonal base, and if we have to find out the volume of the unit cell, we have to multiply it with the height of the unit cell, that is C, and which is represented as H, and this is the distance between the two consecutive layers, twice of the distance between the two consecutive layers A and B. Now we have calculated, so far we have calculated the area of the base, and that is equal to area of 6 equilateral triangles, and it is nothing but equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4 a square. Now let us calculate the height of this unit cell. The height of unit cell will be equal to twice of distance between the two consecutive layers. Here the distance between first layer and third layer is nothing but edge length C, which is represented as H, that is the height of the unit cell, and the distance between the two layers A and B will be equal to H by 2. So the twice of H by 2, that is the distance between the two consecutive layers, will give you the height of this unit cell. In order to find out this distance, that is H by 2, we have to find out the distance between the centroid and the center of this yellow sphere present in the triangle formed by joining these three spheres in the second layer. Second layer is formed by joining the three yellow spheres, and we have to find out this distance, the distance between the center of yellow sphere and the centroid of this triangle. When we join this centroid with this face centered atom and the centroid with the center of this yellow ball, and these two spheres placed at the face centered position of the hexagonal layer and the corner of these equilateral triangles, that is yellow sphere, a triangle will be formed. This triangle is a right angle triangle. So we have to find out, let us find out this height, that is the distance between the centroid of the triangle and the center of the face centered position sphere. Now here this figure represents the three balls or the yellow sphere present in the second layer. Here these three spheres are present in the second layer. When they are joined together, center of these three spheres are joined together, a triangle, equilateral triangle will be formed, and we have to find out the position of this centroid from the center of this sphere. It is represented as X. Here C represents, if we join the center of these three spheres B1, B2 and B3, these three yellow spheres, if the center of these three yellow spheres are joined together, in an equilateral triangle will be formed. Now we have to locate the position of the centroid. If the position of the centroid is represented at C, we have to find out the distance between the centroid and the center of this B2. This distance is represented as X. Now let us find out the value of X. Here let us see this diagram. This is an equilateral triangle. Here C represents the centroid. We have to find out the value of X in terms of A. Now this angle will be 120 degree. This angle is 120 degree, and if we drop a perpendicular from C on this base, it will bisect this base of this triangle, and which is equal to A. This distance is A. If we join the centers of these two balls, the distance, these two balls touch each other, and the distance between these to center will be equal to edge length A. Here it is A. So if we drop a perpendicular from the centroid on this side, a right angle triangle will be formed. And since this perpendicular is bisector of this angle, because it is isosceles triangle, here the two sides, this one is also x, this one is also x, and this total length is equal to A. So since it is an isosceles triangle, if we drop a perpendicular from this vertex C on this base, it will be a perpendicular bisector. It will bisect the angle as well as it will bisect the side also. So this distance will be equal to A by 2. This is also equal to A by 2, and here the angle will be 60 degree. This angle is 90 degree. This one is 60 degree. 90 plus 60 will be equal to 150, and the sum of the three angles in right angle triangle is 180 degree. So 180 degree minus 150 degree will give you 30 degree. So this angle is equal to 30 degree. Now let us consider this right angle triangle. Here this base is equal to A by 2, and this angle is equal to 30 degree, and this hypotenuse x we have to find out. So here let us see from the figure here. In this figure, in this triangle, C is the centroid, this one is B2, and this is half of A, this perpendicular. It is represented as half of A. So, if we find out the value of cos theta, this x is hypotenuse. So, cos theta, that is cos 30 degree, will be equal to base, that is A by 2, divided by hypotenuse, that is x. So cos theta will be equal to A by 2 divided by x. A by 2 divided by x. And we know that cos theta or cos 30 degree will be equal to root 3 by 2. Here cos theta will be equal to root 3 by 2. Substituting this value, we will get A by 2 divided by x. So x will be equal to A by 2 multiplied by 2 divided by root 3. Thus x will be equal to A by 2 multiplied by 2 divided by root 3. Now 2 will cancel out, and x will be equal to A divided by root 3. So we have represented x in terms of A. We have found out the value of x in terms of A, where A is the side of this equilateral triangle. Now so far we have calculated or represented the value of x in terms of A, that is equal to A by root 3. Now let us calculate the height. Here this red ball is placed over the void created by joining of these three yellow balls. Now let us consider this triangle ACB, where this A represents this red ball, center of this red ball, and this B represents the center of this yellow ball, and this C represents the centroid of this triangle here. That is nothing but C. It is represented as C, and this red ball is placed over the void created by joining these B1, B2 and B3. Now let us find out this distance between the center of this equilateral triangle, that is C, and the center of this red sphere which is placed on the top of these three yellow balls. This is represented as AC, and AC is nothing but h by 2. Now this triangle is a right angle triangle. So we know that AC square will be equal to AB square minus BC square, and that is equal to A square minus X square. Here this is the X, which is the distance between the center of the equilateral triangle formed by joining of these three yellow ball and the center of the yellow ball. And we know that this red ball and this yellow ball touch each other, so the distance AB will be equal to A, and that is equal to twice of R. This AB is equal to A and CB is equal to X, so AC square will be equal to A square minus X square, and AC is nothing but h by 2, so h by 2 square is equal to A square minus A under root 3 whole square. This is equal to A square minus A square divided by 3, and 3A square minus A square divided by 3 will give 2A square upon 3. Here, so h square, h upon 2 whole square will be equal to 2 by 3A square. Taking the root on both the side, we get h upon 2 is equal to root 2 by 3A. Now we have calculated h upon 2 is equal to root 2 by 3A, and we know that A is equal to twice of R. Now substituting the value of A in terms of R here, that is 2R, and taking these two on right hand side, we get h is equal to 2 multiplied by these 2, that is 4 under root 2 by 3R. Now we have calculated the area here, the volume of unit cell, that is equal to base area of base multiplied by height. We have calculated the area of base, that is the hexagon, is equal to area of 6 equilateral triangle having side A, and it is equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4 A square. Area of base is equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4 A square, and substituting the value of A in terms of R, we get 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4 into 2R whole square. This 4 and 4 will be, this 2R whole square will be equal to 4R square. This 4 and 4 will be cancelled out, and it will be equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 R square. So the area of base, that is hexagon, is equal to 6 under root 3 R square. Now volume of the unit cell is represented as the area of the base, that is the hexagon, multiplied by height, that is equal to 6 root 3 R square multiplied by 4 into under root 2 by 3 R. Here the height is obtained as 4 multiplied by root 2 by 3 R. So substituting here, the height of the unit cell is represented as 4 root 2 by 3, 4 root 2 by 3 multiplied by R. Now this will be equal to 6 multiplied by 4, that is nothing but 24, root 3 and root 3, here denominator will cancel out. This root 3 and root 3 placed in the denominator will cancel out, and we get 6 multiplied by 4 is equal to 24 root 2 R cube. Here R square multiplied by R will give you R cube. So the volume of the unit cell is equal to area of the base, that is hexagon, multiplied by height. Now this area of the hexagon multiplied by height h. So if we have to find out the volume of the unit cell, it is calculated as the area of this hexagon multiplied by the height of the unit cell. Area of the base, that is hexagon, is equal to 6 multiplied by root 3 by 4 A square, and the height we have calculated as h is equal to 4 root 2 by 3 r. Substituting these two value in the formula, area is equal to area of the base, volume of the unit cell is equal to area of the base, that is 6 root 3 r square multiplied by 4 root 2 divided by root 3 multiplied by r. Root 3 will cancel out. Here it is root 2 multiplied by r cube. So the volume of the unit cell is equal to 24 root 2 r cube. Now let us find the packing efficiency. So so far we have calculated the volume of the unit cell. In order to find out the packing efficiency, we have to calculate the volume occupied by the spheres in the unit cell. Let us find out the number of atoms per unit cell in this hexagonal unit cell. Here the spheres are placed at the corner of the unit cell and two extra spheres are placed at the face center position of this unit cell. Here one at the base and one at the top. So the atoms are placed at the corner of the unit cell and these two red balls are placed at the face center position of this unit cell, and these three balls are present in the body centered position. So let us calculate the number of spheres per unit cell in this hexagonal unit cell. Now count the total number of corners. There are 6 corner spheres present at the corner position. There are total 6 corner atoms at the base and 6 corner atoms on the top of this unit cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 corner atoms which lie on the top of this unit cell, and 6 corresponding spheres are present at the bottom. So the total number of spheres present on the corners of the unit cell will be equal to 6 on the top and 6 at the bottom, and that comes out to be 6 plus 6 will be equal to 12. And these two face centered positions are there. Here one on the top and another one at the bottom, and there are 3 yellow balls which are present at the body centered position. Now let us find out the number of sphere per unit cell in this hexagonal unit cell. Total number of corners are equal to 12, and we know that the corner is common between 6 unit cells, so it will contribute only 1/6 of it in this particular unit cell. 12 multiplied by 1 by 6 will give you 2, and this face is common between 2 unit cells, so there are 2 face centered atoms. 2 multiplied by 1 by 2 will give 1. The contribution from the face centered position is equal to 1, and these 3 yellow balls are isolated to this particular unit cell only because they lie at the body centered position of this unit cell. So the total number of sphere per unit cell will be equal to 2 contributed from the corner, 1 contributed from the face centered position, and 3 contributed from the body centered yellow ball. So 2 plus 1 plus 3 will give you 6. The total number of sphere per unit cell will be equal to 6. Let us find the volume occupied by the spheres in this unit cell. We know that there are 6 spheres per unit cell in this hexagonal unit cell. So let us find the volume occupied by the spheres in the unit cell, and this is calculated as the number of spheres per unit cell multiplied by volume of a sphere. So there are total 6 spheres per unit cell. 6 multiplied by 4 by 3 pi r cube, where 4 by 3 pi r cube is the volume of one sphere, where r represents the radius of the sphere. So the total volume occupied by the 6 spheres per unit cell will be equal to 6 multiplied by 4 is equal to 24, and divided by 3 will give 8. So On simplifying this, we get 8 pi r cube. The volume occupied by the sphere in the unit cell is equal to 8 pi r cube. Now let us find the packing efficiency. Packing efficiency is calculated as the volume occupied by the 6 sphere present in this unit cell divided by volume of the unit cell multiplied by 100. So the volume occupied by the 6 sphere present per unit cell in this unit cell is equal to 8 pi r cube, and we have calculated the volume of the unit cell as equal to 24 root 2 r cube. So 8 pi r cube divided by 24 root 2 r cube will cancel out. Pi divided by 3 root 2 multiplied by 100. On simplifying this, the value of pi is equal to 3.143 divided by 3 multiplied by the value of root 2 is equal to 1.414 multiplied by 100. On solving this, we get the packing efficiency as 74%. So the packing efficiency of this hexagonal closed packed structure comes out to be 74%. Thank you.